Ṣẹ̀kẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ bá jó, ṣẹ̀kẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ bá jó, olúwa mi ò dìde ojó
The Ashen Forge.
ṣẹ̀kẹ̀rẹ̀.
Ashen's the Ashen Forge.
What is up, everyone? Hopefully you can hear me. I'm having some technical stuff. We're trying to figure it out. But welcome to the Ashen Forge. I am Phantom X, joined by Diggs and the legendary Neurotoxin. How y'all doing?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Perfect.
Okay, it's been kind of a rough month all around, and relevant to the stream here, I will say it's a little rough to see the monthly stream get pushed back to the beginning of the next month. But it's going to take them as long as they're going to need in order to be able to have the things they want to be able to demo and create the demonstration and filter through the data shown in that demonstration to make sure they don't show anything they don't want to show. So, yeah, it's it'll be nice to see. I know sometimes technical things are more of a bore than the lore and the gameplay, but to be perfectly honest, this is something. Server performance is something that's huge to me, because you can have a beautiful game that's got 1 million players, or people who have bought in and played at some point over a long time, and still have Star Citizen servers, and that just makes it like, how is it that a server with only 100 people on it is performing this poorly? It's really, really disappointing when a server is the thing that's keeping what would otherwise be a good game from being what it could be. PlanetSide 2 on the Forge Light engine, it was another one that was just a heartbreaker, that they could never figure it out, and when they figured it out, it was sharding people separately, so vehicles would see more vehicles and people with anti-vehicle weapons would see more of the vehicles, versus infantry who were closer together would see more of each other. But everything outside of your area would get blasted out. Why am I seeing more ads? I just saw ads. That's rough. Anyway, that's something that I'm it's odd to say I'm passionate about server performance, but at the same time, it's one of those things that if you don't have that, you ain't got a game. You don't have the fundamental thing required for a multiplayer game to do what it needs to do. And if you're looking for a larger scope and scale, you got to be ready for what that can entail. The fact that big battles in EVE Online would often require them to let the devs know so they could start allocating more server power to the regions involved. That's at least a nice solution, that using more of a coordinated system, they're able to put the resources forth in the places where they're needed. In this case, it was a self-report sort of thing, but now that I've been thinking about it here, it's probably something that's going to play into the way that the sanctioned events are meant to be, that they will use sanctioned events as a place to say, hey, we know we're gonna need to allocate more server space to this area, so we're gonna do it. And they have perhaps a rotating sort of power bank of server juicing capacity that they use around the game at the prime times and otherwise for all the sanctioned and expected sort of events that may occur. Now, I've talked a lot here for a little bit here, and I know I've been off for a little bit. Once again, things have been really rough this month for a lot of folks. If you saw what I said in the Discord chat the other day, you know what's up. Otherwise, things have been rough. So,
Well, we are
with that,
glad you're back.
yeah, thank you. So I'm gonna pass it to you guys. Uh, the community wants to know the number 1 to 10. How excited are you about a server performance stream?
0. But speaking of it being rough, um, a little birdie told me that it got pushed because Steven is sick. And then people were concerned that he's sick because he has persistent cough. They've noticed.
I see.
What do you mean a birdie told you? And they announced that.
Well, there you go.
And you mean birdie like Twitter? I mean,
Sure.
yeah.
It's not even a bird anymore.
I don't know. We could speculate all we want about Steven.
Well, it's all due to the persistent cough that they just noticed.
People have gone back and looked. Like, at what
I
point
know.
is it Vladis? Was it Vladis? I don't know who's in chat watches Vladis, but I know he started going back through some of the older videos.
Oh no, it started in 2017 with
Well,
Kickstarter. I looked at it a while ago.
he had up on like the screen like a cough counter of just
Oh.
seeing how
Yeah,
bad
I
it was.
remember that.
I think it was Vladis. I'm not. I'm pretty sure it was.
Mhm.
You know, it has to be something though to make them delayed. That's not something they like to do. So,
Yeah, I just thought it was funny that they just noticed the cough. Like, oh yeah.
so I have a.
Recently he's had a persistent cough, and it's like, yeah, that reason has been total of like 7 years.
So I have to ask you said you're not that excited by this. Why not?
I don't know. There's other stuff that I'd like to see. Probably, well, I'd rather know that I'm gonna be seeing a Dunir in the game. I'd rather know that I'm seeing one of the classes that we haven't seen so far. I'd be more interested in seeing something about augments. I'm not concerned about. I'd rather see something about nodes, which is what I paid for. That's why I supported the game, is so that people could be working on nodes and it would be easier for them to implement something similar in future games. I'm not concerned about um, their ability to have a massively multiplayer game. I think that's going to happen.
So, but isn't it? I mean, aren't you? I mean, their server stability is like the huge part of this, right? I mean, I guess for you,
Not
you
to
don't
me.
care so much because you're not going to fight.
I
But
I expect. I mean, that's like the minimal thing. I don't think. I mean, it's an MMO. I expect the combat to be decent. Like that's the least. I'm not paying because I did not support this game because I wanted an MMO that was going to have super stellar server stability or super stellar. I mean, that's like the bare minimum. I'm expecting
You would
any
think it's
MMO
the
to be
bare
able to
minimum.
accomplish that. I'm
You
just
would
saying
think
that
so.
that's like, yeah, do that. I mean, I expect them to be able to do that without my support. I don't need to support a MMO RPG team to be able to have that. They should be able to do that.
I mean, this just seems like the sort of thing you talk about often, which I think is a good thing. Supporting friends and just the gaming developer community in pursuing new things to bring
Is that
forward.
new? Again, that's the basic of
Oh yes,
any
well,
MMORPG has to have stable servers. Like that's a
well, what?
given.
So we should backtrack a little bit. We don't know exactly what they're going to talk about specifics to the server. Stephen had actually given a hint about all this during the last live stream. So I tried pointing that out to people, but no one really picked up on it. You know, he actually talked about the next stream and server stability and their proprietary however,
Proprietary.
yes, approach to this problem, which sounds different. You're right. Server meshing has existed since what, like Ultima Online, but what everybody is suspecting they're going to do is turn this into some more into a dynamic process, which hasn't existed. I guess Star Citizen really is the only MMORPG that's been trying to do that. And so that's the suspicion of what they're going to announce. And for those who are actually excited about it, I would imagine if that's not what they're going to announce, like if they're going to talk more about just your typical sort of way of doing things, people are probably get a little bit disappointed. But
All right, I've got two questions for you, Phantom X, whichever
yeah,
one.
yeah. Thanks, Stephen.
uh, first question: as a Phoenix Initiative, oh no, it's funny. Phoenix Initiative player, did you feel that the small amount of players who were engaging in this um, playtesting were adequately supported by the server such that everything was stable, no desyncing, no rubber banding, things felt like they were hitting when they were, shooting and making contact and such. Did that feel like the experience that it was super tight and super smooth, or were there some hiccups along the way that impacted things?
First, let me see if this works.
Okay.
I don't think anybody else heard that but me. I'll have to figure that out. The server so initially felt horrible. Initially, there were, gosh, rubber banding. There was a lot of memory leaks. There were client side problems. People kind of standing still, running. Just a lot of issues that quickly got fixed. The second test was better, still pretty bad, but better. Still had memory leaks. By test 5 6, it was pretty flawless. I had I had clear lag spawning back into the world. So when I would spawn back into the world from the camps, then there was some lag. But other than that, everything synced up pretty well. People in the distance, you could still have some almost look like hitching, but now whether that was their proprietary tech that they're working on, or they were just, or I don't know, that was not talked about, that was not announced, so I really have no clue.
Right.
But it is encouraging. Blunden, what makes me mostly feel like they're going to make their target of Q3 is that like the speed of which they actually addressed some of these issues. Now, flip side to that, it was 70-ish people. When we're talking about somewhere probably between 100, 200,000 Alpha 2 testers, how many servers can they spin up? How many people are going to be on them? I don't know. We'll see how that all works. But for the group that we had in the area that we were at, by that recorded test 6, it went pretty well.
Sounds good. Well, then, with all of that in mind, give us a number 0 to 10, I suppose, of how excited you are for this stream.
Me? Oh.
Yes.
I'm not gonna go 10 like Max. I'm gonna I don't know, 7 or 8. The last one was really good. I wish we got gameplay stuff every time because I would love to be in it. But those are hard to put together. I don't think people realize the length of time. Just getting everything took 6-7 hours, and then who knows what they did with editing and everything else. But they've started to do a whole lot of editing with this. Switching viewpoints. I think that's sort of been the answer to everyone's complaint about Steven. Everybody's complaint. Why are we just watching him? He's not even playing. He's not paying attention. And so they've gotten a lot more clever with their editing and at least showing other viewpoints while he's talking. So I think that's actually been done very well. And there were some really good videos put together. Planet Dorf and all these other folks. I don't know why I just said his name that way. That was weird. I like technical stuff too, Max. But we'll see. I don't know. It depends on how they present it. If it's like a PowerPoint presentation, I don't know. What's up, Royer? How's it going?
They have to be doing it in such a way that they're going to be able to demonstrate something meaningful, because there's how much show and how much tell. He always talks about how Stephen always talks about how these are marketing beats, that every live stream and every major announcement, everything is something that then allows for media influencers, etc., to be able to talk about, analyze, and use as a way to spread the word. So they want to make sure there's something exciting about them, that it isn't just droll and boring. And so I am interested to see how they're going to demonstrate it, who's going to be on, to what extent they're going to be able to talk about the technology, how technical the language is going to be, if you need to be someone who knows a little bit about, networking code and stuff to be able to understand the, what's going on, or what's actually going to be presented. They have however long they're going to need to record it and be able to communicate all of that stuff. Um, it'll it'll be what it'll be. I'm not gonna exactly say 10 either, but yeah, probably about an 8, because you know they're not just gonna sit there and bore us for 30 minutes. There's gonna be something entertaining they throw in with it. So
I hope. I
that's
don't know. What was the one they did that was more PowerPoint like? I'm trying to remember.
that was a while ago, but I thought it was one of the Nodes ones.
I was thinking that too, but
Yeah, I don't believe they've done one since like that, because it got a bit of a poor response, perhaps. But at the same time, I think for where they were at and how much they were willing to reveal, they may have chosen that route just because it was the one. UI, okay, just to not try to show too much at once, or have to rely on everything working perfectly all at once, that sort of thing, and instead just gave us kind of a breakdown of things. But whatever, I'd have to watch that one again. I I think it'll be nice to see whatever it is. As you said, Diggs, perhaps they will show one of the classes that they plan to launch Alpha 1 or Alpha 2 with, rather. One of the 6 that we haven't seen yet, and be able to learn a bit more about them and what they're going to offer, what the sort of play style is like. I definitely agree that would be a great way to do it, and definitely to use some of the any of the races that we haven't seen that are going to be in Alpha 2.
I want to try something again, real quick. Sorry, I want to try this
Oh,
one more time. I've been
okay.
doing a lot with trying to get all of our stuff sort of modern. I'm going to update Discord, a lot of stuff I'm trying to catch up with, but I want to see if this works. Tell me if you can hear this.
Fant MX down.
I don't know if you all could hear that, but I wonder if
Nope.
chat could hear that. That should have come through chat. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yep, you could hear it. I don't know how to push it to you all. If you
Yeah.
do, yeah, dead or my name, it's Steven saying Phantom X down. So,
Nice.
but yeah,
Oh
sir.
yeah. Do you have the map thing hooked up?
I do. I was just about to mention. Now I've turned this into channel points, so I have to actually.
Smart.
There is a channel. There's several channel points now. Um, Logo toggle that will actually toggle our logo, which will make sense here in a minute. Zoom. So there's a map, and you can zoom in and out. So you get to choose. You can choose how zoomed in, how zoomed out it is. We're going to see how this goes. I also have a kill switch for all this in case it gets too freaking crazy. The road goes ever on, so you actually can select several different locations that you can push the map to. Now, if you go down below, kind of in all of our signage down there, it tells you the map commands, so the things that you have to type in order for it to work. So, yeah, where's the map? Did it not work? I don't think it flipped over. So, anyways, let me.
Got me looking at the stream screen over here.
Yeah. So, actually, y'all keep chatting for a minute. I need to figure out why that didn't work. So
So, with all of this sort of stuff in mind, I gotta ask Diggs, did you watch the either of the guild leader summits?
I didn't, and I don't even know what they are. So, what are they, and why should I have watched them?
Okay, so there was a guild leader summit where they had some questions and roundtable answers, as well as taking some questions from the community, getting a lot of leaders from a lot of guilds that are either well known or at least known enough among the communities that they're recognizable, and getting everybody's feedback on the different levels and what their different priorities are. And I don't know about the morning session because there were different people on that, and I didn't see it. But the evening session or afternoon or whatever, that was the one I watched. Fanta MX was in that one, and
Mhm.
I didn't get the feeling that the folks in those guilds, even the PvP heavy ones, were necessarily going to be like the most toxic and unenjoyable of folk.
Mm.
Um, it there was definitely a sort of theme of not necessarily being completely polite and respectful to everybody, but to keep things within reason, to not let things build into a feud, or exhibiting toxic or predatory behavior, that sort of stuff, that you know beating two dudes down who tried to jump you, and then giving them a little what for about it. That's what one of them said. If you guys tried to take me 2-on-1 and I beat both of you, yeah, I'm gonna gloat about it a little bit. You guys should have won that one. So that's kind of the thing that I like, is it doesn't seem like any of them are like, I'm gonna kick your ass, take your shoes, and follow you home. It's it's they're not there to necessarily give people a hard time, but if they're doing the PvP thing and you happen to come across them, you know, maybe maybe they'll give you a rough time once or twice. That's kind of the vibe I got, and it's nice to have that sort of a feeling, as far as I'm concerned, compared to um, just like bloodthirsty savage rage, like we're killing everybody that we can, and if they don't flag, blah blah blah, we'll let a level 1 kill them, whatever. I I don't know exactly how bad it's going to be, and again, I didn't see the morning group, so I think some of the more PvP heavy folks might have been in that one. But that was kind of the
Yeah,
thing that I liked about it, and that they, the ones who are like all orcs all the time, and dwarfs are nothing. Like
Killer was
it's
hilarious.
Killer was hilarious. Oh, everybody was very entertaining, and seemed like fun folks to have as a guild leader for sure. That that was one of the other nice things, is I couldn't think of any one of them that I wouldn't be willing to play as a member in their guild if that's the kind of thing I was looking to do. So it's nice. It's nice to see also that they talk about, if somebody's done something they shouldn't be, like doxing, they will blacklist that player,
Yeah.
though if it can be proven that a player was trying to dox somebody else, I think Intrepid would even intervene and ban that person, every last bit of hardware they've got details on, their credit card information, etc.
Yeah. I mean, you would hope. But
You
yeah,
hope.
that was a very, I agree, it was a very good conversation. It's one of those things where everyone agreed, obviously, we, we, this can't happen. Once it's outside of the game, it's a problem. And, we all sort of agree as individuals, as leaders, like we'll talk to each other about it, let everyone know, hey, this person's doing this or that, and kind of go from there. So it's a really good community to be a part of. I have some more thoughts on that I'm curious of y'all's answers in a minute, but here, so it is working now. So for everyone who is curious, you can go to um, channel points, go down to the road goes ever on, and just pick a location, and you get to push the map wherever you want it to go. Locations are down at the bottom. You can also do zoom. So zoom. You can go -1 to 2, -2 to 2. I'm going to actually zoom. I'll show you. I'm going to zoom this all the way out to 2. You can see the whole map. Oh shit, wrong one. Damn, I did the wrong way. It's not 2. It's -2. Try that. Oh, I'm on cooldown down. Damn. Now I'm on cooldown. All right, fixing shit out. But yeah, it all it's fun. So yeah, there you go. We're taking us to Riverland. I'm waiting for this timeout to go.
There
Yeah.
you go. Much better.
So that's why the logo is also in there. That's the only zone. That's sadly, that's the only zone that I've tested in. So with
That's
nodes
fine.
1 through 6. So this is the entirety of the map. I was for nodes 1 through 6, but you all can look around a little bit different. So the guild thing that I wanted to ask about. All right, see that zooms us all the way out. So you can also do zoom. That was a lot of fun to put together. By the way, there's about 3 different coding languages that are all working together in
Oh
that.
wow.
So
Nice. Stuff.
I was curious. One of the things we sort of discussed, with small guilds, Theory Forge would theoretically be a small guild. Like where would you all see our role there in the grand scheme of what Ashes is? We'd obviously be vassaled, right? Theory Forge is not going to own a metropolis, so as a guild, we would be vassaled to someone. But like, what do
Agreed.
you?
I don't know. I would be fine like just joining a metropolis as a guild who takes residence there. Wouldn't be vassaled at that point, but it takes the resources to be able to get to that sort of area, one of which being kind of being able to level up and be tough enough for the region, or as I hope they will do, just stick to the roads, and so long as nobody ganks you, you'll get there. Because that's one of those things that I've been really happy about with the game is the concept that the roads will be safe or relatively safe, so players can use them to traverse through potentially more dangerous areas to get back to a safer area on the other side where they maybe wanted to set down for a little while. So that's something I
What about you, Diggs?
I don't
but
understand why you think that a small guild would be vassal instead of being in a metro. Why would a small guild not be in a metro?
I guess the context of the question. Well, I guess we can just even take off the vassal. So just as a small guild, like how would you envision one contributing to a small guild, but two, like where would our place be? Like what would we do? Is it just about having fun? Like is there some place we could fit in?
I'll be honest with you, I had actually planned more to be in a um, permanent city by the beach where the metropolis is not far, and the metropolis is a science node, so it's not hard to get around. Like that's for me the ideal sort of thing is not to be in a place that's high risk because it's the coastal city. This is the main docks of the metropolis. It's not going to be knocked over anytime soon. If anything, it would be the one to do the knocking over. So that's sort of like the level of safety, I suppose, that I would be hoping to see from being at a location like that, in a location like that, being able to utilize the fast transport system. It's not going to get my resources around that I have to cart around, but anything I can put in my backpack and put in my pockets, I think I'll be able to get around. There might be a fee, that's fine. And for me, I've kind of got two main goals: is make weapons that uh, deal more damage or are more effective against corrupted targets and the corruption and the ancients, and then to you know use, sell, and distribute said weapons into the community and against the enemies. The whole narrative for me, just as it was in New World, is why the hell are we fighting each other? We came back from Sanctus to free this place from the curse of the ancients and what they've done to ravage the lands, and we're going to take it back. Why are we fighting each other? What's the damn point? Bunch of goons. That's that just the same for me with New World. It's like, all right, so intro, and we're arbitrarily forced into one of three warring factions, and then about 20 to 30 levels of content later, you do the thing and you protect yourself against the darkness, the corruption or whatever, and then you create your own little like secret sect where it's people entering in a truce as protectors of the realm that doesn't actually manifest. You can't defaction yourself and join this neutral, we've got the goal to fix the world sort of faction. No, you had to stay in one of your three stupid factions. That that was just
Oh, that's not
narratively
the same
really
for
bad to
Ashes.
me.
But that's not the same for Ashes.
Oh
Ashes,
no, it's not the same for Ashes. It's
it's
people
just that,
people choosing to be jerks instead of being forced into being jerks.
yeah, uh, Ashes is going to be populated by gamers, and gamers like to fuck over other people. But I thought you were planning on being a hermit. Am I confusing you with Phantom? I thought you were
No,
not
oh no,
planning to
no.
join a metro.
I plan to be somewhere where I can get access to the resources that allow me to make the best anti-corruption bows and probably spears.
And you have to be a citizen to do that?
Um, it helps to be in a place where the high-level resources are able to be obtained. I would imagine some of my skilling and mastering up will get me to a certain point where maybe I can get myself to about tier 3 before I get to the point where I have to choose my specializations towards weapon craft. And so as the specializations kind of taper, as they the I think it's 7 that I can level up into the different specializations, get more narrow and limited, things that are above my skill and capability to gather will be in the economy in those areas. So I'll still be able to get the stuff I can get at the level I can get it, but I will be in a place where the economy allows me to build up to a higher skill level. And likewise, I would imagine we would get ourselves, at some point the guild freehold, so we can have our own, the little plots coming off of it to actually build the high level crafting stations to make the best anti corruption bows in the game,
Hmm.
or at least on that server.
Hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. I I have. Did you just call me a hermit?
I think you
Uh,
did.
I
Were you planning to be a
I,
hermit?
I thought one of you said that that's what you were going to do.
I
It might
mean,
have I might have said something like that earlier on, but now that more of the systems have been revealed, no.
Yeah.
Initially, I'm just gonna be like, "Hey, goodbye, everybody. I'm headed to the beach," and it might be a rough start, but people like the beach. Maybe more Nakua. I guess some
Mhm.
pyrite at the beach would be cool too. That'd be real interesting to see what they can do there. But you know, beach going folk making beach going cities. That's sounds like fun.
I do worry about where smaller guilds fit. When you really think back to everything that we've seen so far, these are all really in the context of kind of larger run entities. I imagine smaller guilds are just going to really succeed through alliances. Is probably where you will succeed, and that the best approach, as you have said, maybe we do anti-corruption bows, and that is what we get to be known for. And there's 10 of us. Some of us go harvesting and exploring for goods. The others make them. Um, but just the complexity with everything. One of the questions that came up was sort of was also an interesting one to answer was whether guilds will require their members to be in the same nodes. Um, and I think initially a lot of the answers were yes. You want proximity, you want to be close. If you have to go on a raid or if you have to kill something, you want people nearby. But when you think about it from a pure sort of financial artisanship standpoint, which is really what all of this is about. I mean, everything that is going to drive war centers around money and goods. That is the bottom line of all this. That's why stock markets will be theoretically in place at some point, probably 5 expansions from now, in 2040. But yeah, maybe not 2040, 2035. Um, So I do, so larger guilds even, I don't think that you'll keep your people, they will keep their people in one node. It doesn't make any sense to because you're going to be so specialized. Each of these nodes are going to be so specialized when you look at those trees that mayors get to choose from. Like I think some of them are like literally deciding between like a blunted weapon and a piercing. And then like you're kind of locked out at least how it appeared on the trees of going the other way. So you're getting very, very specialized stuff. And so keeping all of your guild members to one node really doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. You're probably going to want them to be dispersed out. Resources are going to vary by node as well. And, so you're going to want them running those caravans, bringing things back to you. But I think smaller guilds will be a little bit different. So,
I I think it sucks to be limited to one node. The I don't know if I actually put the comment in chat or just thought it real hard to myself and typed it but didn't press enter. But the thought that I had was, oh great. So your main stays in the node and your alt is the one you can do adventuring with. Rock on. Like that doesn't sound fun. Or I think the comment I might have actually put in was, "Hey, let's do Carfin. You got 4 hours to travel? Cause we're in the southeast."
I Fupa was in chat. I was just joking if anyone watches this later from Intrepid. Because my answer to like how we will deal with getting goods and things like that was RMT and things. I said, we'll just RMT what we need. As a joke. I was kidding. So probably alliances and alts. We'll just have Diggs have 15 different alts, and he can go do stuff for us. So
Like explore.
hey, bring
Yeah.
back goods. Bring back what you can.
I'm not getting any goods.
What are you going to explore and do? Is it just looking, taking
I'm just
pictures?
going to explore. I told you that. Yep.
I can't
I'm not
recall. Did
doing anything that involves risk or reward.
you were you planning to play Vec from both the more like um I don't want to use the word tribal, but like the sort of using more sort of primitive styles and materials, or like simply handcrafted sort of styles and materials and stuff, and with the painting and everything. Does that style appeal to you? And then on the other side, is the stargazing part of your exploration? Since that's something that Vec are so specialized in, that's one of their like racial sort of motivators. Is that another reason why you might consider them as your main one, or are you still like not sure and you want to see them all? You might do a Tolnar, you might do something else.
I'm probably just going to have a human. I might still do the Vec thing, but I was planning to have a Vec in a religious node and a divine node was the plan. Um, but I'm not even sure, and I can't remember if that was when the Vec looked like the Vec do now. That was like really early on. I'm not sure that I would have gone that route. It would have been really cool to have a rogue orc. I think that was one of my initial ideas too, just because it's just fun
Oh
to have a
yeah.
big ass orc, um, looking more like a Renkai uh, that is stealthy. But um, yeah, no, I'm just gonna be exploring, so I don't expect to be doing any harvesting or anything like that. Nothing that um and it's the that would even lead to more progression, and I'm trying to be as close to level
Right.
one as possible. So, um, but in terms of guilds, especially because I'm a hippie, commie, casual Care Bear, I don't even know what successful guild means, and I don't have requirements for guilds that I join. Um, I join guilds so we can pool resources and find each other easily if we want to do stuff together, and whatever benefits we can get from like mechanical benefits we get from leveling a guild. Um, so I don't even know what success or fit means because that's not why I'm joining a guild. Um, but
That's fair.
yeah, what does success mean for a guild? What do you even mean by success?
You know,
Yeah,
I
that was actually one of the questions I
yeah.
think, and what was the resounding answer? Having fun and having my community, because my community means a lot to me, and I want everyone to have fun. Is like
Yeah, there were a lot of political
approximately
answers.
the answer, but
Um, yeah, Lineker had the best, I think. Lineker said, success should be what did you complete what you said you were going to do? He said that, he had a good point. It's going to vary by people. Like we will not likely be trying to get a metro. So what we do as a guild will probably be smaller scale, a little bit different. And success is just whether you achieve your goals. But I think what did he worded it in a way like, if you're one of these big guilds, that have been recruiting for the last year or two, and your recruitment is that you're going to go out, you're going to get a metro, and you're going to be the biggest badass on the server. If you don't go out and do that shit, then you did not succeed. Uh, like, if you did not become what you said you were going to become, then you were not a successful guild, and you had no business doing it. He had
That's
a lot of good answers.
that's weird to me anyway because I do not think of getting a metro, whatever that means, as being a guild uh, goal. Especially since what would be driving me towards uh,
It is.
metros would probably be race and making sure that I can achieve my racial progression. Um, and I would not be expecting everybody in the guild, in my guild, to be the same race. Um, yeah, that's an individual character goal, not a guild goal in my mind. But
Many others it is. There's a couple. I think Rive also has the goal of for Genesis to obtain a metro, but they're running some numbers. It's going to take a lot of players. Actually, the suspicion is, and I think this kind of drives a little bit with what you're saying, Diggs. That probably one guild, is not going to be by themselves able to secure a metro. It's probably going to need alliances.
don't under yeah, that doesn't make sense to me. Having a metro is about the individual players, not a guild. And maybe your guild might be in a metro, but that's not the same thing as
No, if
securing
your
a metro.
guild's leading the metro, that's power, and that's a goal for a
No,
lot of
your
these
guild is
guilds.
gonna your
I
guild is
think
gonna lead the castle, not the
I
metro.
think
Well,
yeah,
they
that's what I was
both.
about to say. Is that that's a bit of a perhaps a misnomer to have said
They've
when
said
you say
both.
getting a metro because a metropolis, yeah, it'll be you and everybody who lives there and contributed to it. It's not, maybe an alliance of like I'm not going to use the word sweaty, but very active players who are also very effective when they play. Um, Maybe one full max size guild alliance will be able to outcompete everybody else at one metro. That's a lot of effort. I don't think there's going to be more than one or two of those types of alliances on any given server. Castles, though, that is exactly what I was going to say, and that's why I was looking it up to make sure I wasn't about to blow crap out of my mouth here. Those are the ones that are run by guilds. And so that is where, if you're a big guild and you're going to be the toughest, it's the castle that you're going
Hmm.
to own. And sure,
Hmm.
you might use the influence you have from owning the castle to help weigh the odds towards getting the type of metropolis that you want with the influence you want going into it. But that's still going to take a lot of effort, and meanwhile, you're going to have to be ready to defend that castle regularly because there will be constant sanctioned events for people to try to knock your castle over, take it over. So
Yeah.
yes, there will be the five castles, and whoever owns the castle, you got a lot of good things going for you, but you're also gonna have to really be ready to defend. I feel like that's where you're gonna find a lot of officers doing backstabbery and stealing resources and that sort of thing, a lot of betrayal from within, a lot of espionage going on. That that might be one of the things that makes running a castle that much worse. Is you're going to want to defend it, so you increase your numbers, but in doing so, you might have filtered people up the ranks as officers and given them authority that they were planning to use to sink the place to begin with. So that's also something. I don't know how frequent it's going to be, but it seems like trying to own a castle makes you a much bigger target than trying to help contribute to maintain and defend a metropolis.
Yeah, I really need to see what I need to see the skill tree for the guilds to know what I would want from the guilds. Um, what direction I would want a guild to go in. Um,
Run speed, jump height,
yeah.
reduction from falling damage, or just plain gliding.
Mhm.
um Grappling hooks, that's the sort of thing I could imagine if you've got like a super duper explorer adventurer sort of guild that it's uh digs of the dirty old rag robes who's got heroic movement. And
Mhm.
sure, you're gonna kill him in one shot if you're trying to kill him, but if you're not, watch that guy move, he is quick. Like
Well,
that's
and if you
that's
have
what I
heroic
can see a
movement,
character doing.
then I'd have to have a character that also has villainous movement. Um, I was really hoping to see what that would look like
Do
in
the really
EverQuest
creepy
next.
walk sort of thing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I guess I might wonder how I would be more wondering how guilds might interface with the social organizations, and then also again how those guild benefits might relate or associate with social organizations. Um, so I just have to see more before I can figure out uh, goals for the guild other than just, you know, help out newbies.
Phoenix, thanks for following. And I also agree. So one of the text there is all these people want these things, but are not going to want to deal with the drama that comes along with it. I think that will certainly be an interesting test. Some of the guilds, Lineker's, Chibi, and Vertex, I think have existed for quite a while. So you hope that they've kind of got some good practices in place for this sort of thing. Lineker's is like super, super well run, like very regimented in every aspect. Like he even talked a lot about crafting, and that they're going to funnel to very specific people. Like they're not going to have everyone crafting, or even a group of people. It'll be very specific individuals. So they have plans all ready to go. But yeah, the drama is going to be super interesting. That is where I don't know. It's curious to see what happens because this is such a different social game than what we've had before, with nodes being able to rise and fall, and the importance of relying on other people, not pissing other people off. What do you do if you get disrespected and care of it? All these different things. Those social interactions are going to be super, super important. I think a lot to like World of Warcraft, and you have tons of guilds, you have big guilds. Most of the most of that though, outside of PvP skirmishes, battlegrounds, things like that, guilds kind of operate on their own. Whether or not they succeed in their uh, weekly raids is really completely a function of themselves. Are they geared? Do they have what they need? Do they have the experience? Are they working well together? Versus ashes, these things are going to be just entirely different. Your weekly raid schedule is going to depend on a lot of different stuff, not just your own guild. You're going to be relying on other guilds. You're going to be fighting with other guilds in order to get to those raid spots. Relationships are going to be incredibly important. And I think, to your point, Phoenix, I think a lot of places will probably crash and burn. Neuro, you did the whole castles and crap shacks. I want to do some sort of similar series on like failed mayors. Like who were the worst mayors? Who were the best mayors? Because I think there's going to be a lot of shitty mayors. I don't want to be one. I won't have the time. I won't have the drive. Um, yeah, sorry, Richie. Sorry. I'll get Diggs the fireplace one. I'll put it back there, and I'll put Steven kind of poking his head in and out too.
There's also, well, what Steven is hoping for is that there will be enough incentive for small guilds based on their benefit structure and what's open to them, that communities like what Virtik and Shibri have might splinter because there might be smaller factions within that who want a specific direction or a specific goal that's only available due to or lineakers might fracture because uh, right, you might not be able to achieve the crafting that you want as part of a large guild. You might be able to get better crafting belonging to a smaller guild, and then you know will you maintain the same goals? You have somebody who's not part of the smaller guild trying to tell you what is best for the smaller guild. So Steven's expecting to have some intrigue and drama coming from not being able to have a super large guild because what is the max for a large guild is 200 or is it 300?
I think 300.
I think it's 2 or 300, right?
300.
Um, and then yeah, so if you have a super large guild, that's if you have a mega guild bigger than that, then um, you know you might not be able to keep that alliance the way you think you might.
The other thing that came up yesterday that I hope we get to revisit is this, and I don't know that we will, but we'll see. We'll see how Alpha goes. Alpha 2 is this whole not being able to attack your parent nodes. You've been vassaled. You cannot wage war against those above you. I really hope that gets revisited. I don't buy the reasoning before it that, well, you already lost that battle. Well, maybe, maybe not. I mean, you could have very well been vassal just because somebody else had a head start. Had nothing to do with fighting. Um, you lost the experience race, the whatever. The
Yeah, he was not being literal there.
Well, but he's still saying it's still the same thing that you did not win. You did not win the right to
Yeah,
become parenthood.
that's right.
Um, and I don't buy that. I also don't think I also think that I would prefer to, in order to keep people in line, to actually have some sort of responsibility to those below them. That potential for your nodes to rise up against you. To me, just I hope they revisit that. I don't think they will. Not now. It doesn't. At this point, it's just getting in and testing what's already in place. But I think that would help prevent nodes
The
being
thing
stagnant.
that is a little weird to me is I'd have to go back and look at it, but I get the feeling that there's almost more like these valence rings, uh, uh, radiating out from the metropolis rather than the metropolis being always on the edge of a region, and then everything in a certain direction is of the receding levels. It doesn't really make sense for it to work that way. To be a metropolis, you have to be the big dog among the bigger dogs among the bigger dogs. You gotta be the big dog. You gotta be the one on top. And so, how then, if you can't attack your parent nodes, is any metropolis ever going to get knocked over unless it is from an entirely different region that is amassing a gigantic force to bring it all the way through enemy territory to attack that metropolis? That does not sound like the sort of economically draining thing that they intend for trying to take on a metropolis to be. And so, by default, if you're beneath a metropolis, you're going to be a vassal of it. And so, at that point, are we talking about who among two competitors for a promotion at that given time are the ones that are in competition for who is vassaled? Raiders, thank you very much.
Yes,
Hello.
we.
um that's I guess the thing I want to know a little bit more about is, like, can attacks only come from the outside? Because with some of the stuff they were talking about with the contracts for how you do a war and a siege, that maybe it is something where you have to have buy-in from enough vassals downstream to be able to have the support to then go forth and attack the metropolis, and that it is a more internal thing, but it requires you to have an
Ah,
expanded contract.
this is hilarious. Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you, Dylan. Thank you very much for the raid. Thank you everyone else that has joined us. We appreciate you all. We are Theory Forge. If you've not watched us before, we've been doing this show for 7 years, 6, 7 years now on Sunday evenings. Well, we did Fridays for a while. Somehow I am also now a raider. I had Zillin's channel opened in the background. And so I am now a raider of our own show. I didn't know that could happen. If I type now, I am a raider. And I appreciate every single one of you that are also following us. Yeah, for all you saying Fant MX, I think this will work.
Fant MX down.
Yeah, there you go. That is plugged in with dead. So you can hear Steven say that over and over again. Also, I'm going to plug what I did because I'm
Fant
super.
MX
Ah,
down.
yeah, I'm going to constantly hear that now, probably in my head. I did not put in a kill for that. So, and for those of you who don't follow Zillin's been creating content for a long time. Is a great content creator. Definitely go follow his channel. I think he just had Vertec on with him, and just another one of the great communities. We have an awesome community in Ashes of Creation. I think I say that a lot of times you can keep spanning. It's all right. I don't mind hearing my name being called out as being dead. I also want to point out, and I will turn this back over to you, Neuro, because I'm sure you have more to talk about. I added some functionality here. You see the map behind us. We have channel points. Now, some of you might have just joined us and not really have a lot of channel points. One of the redeems you could do is the road goes on, goes ever on. So if I do this, you get
I
to
don't
control.
actually see where the list of names is for that one, by
It's
the
at the
way.
bottom. If you go down where it has our YouTube, Discord, TikTok, Twitter at the bottom here, it will show you
Oh,
what words you can put in. You actually get to control where our map goes. So if I use this road goes ever on, I don't know, where do you want to go? Let's go to Dunes and Kelp. So if I just type in Dune, you will see this come across. Our map will now change to that location. So you can determine where our map goes as well as the zoom in and out. So have fun with that. But yeah, sorry, got to plug that because that was a solid 24, 36 hour work for fun. Um, but
All to support my character just exploring in Ashes. Well, all of us will go on a journey together.
um, and Planendorf, I need you to get us another map with more markings on it so that I can put this in and people can go to actual cities and nodes and all of those things. You put a 0 on the end of that, so I don't know that it will go anywhere. But
yeah,
um,
I had two things going.
so,
Yes.
but yeah, where were we? What were we wrapping up? Sorry, I got completely off track there.
I was talking about, uh,
All right.
you know, now I'm off track here too because we started getting
Well,
on
one
another
of the
thing.
intriguing things was the whole mayor thing that you want to do. Who's a good mayor? Who's a bad mayor? That's going to be an interesting little series of shorts.
Yeah. So yeah, we were talking about that way back on during Landmark. So we started with EverQuest Next, went to Landmark. Well, I guess we never had EverQuest Next. It was Landmark. COE Revival came here. Neuro did a show called Castles and Crap Shacks, where in Landmark you were either very good at building or you built shit. And so he went around, and I was one who built shit. So we go around and just saying who's got the best, who's got the worst. So my idea here, yeah, we definitely need to keep track of mayors. I want to know who's been the good mayors, who's been the absolutely horrible mayors, and we need to actually track that, make a nice document of it, so that we can go back and just have a good time looking at all the craziness.
So you're saying that we need some kind of tar and feather emote or option that we can force on the bad mayors to run them out of town?
Well, I hope there is, yes, I hope there is some really good built-in data statistics that we get access to really see decision making, and find out who's doing a good job, who is not doing a good job.
Mhm.
Would be a lot of fun. So Google Doc, yeah. Uh, I guess this is where we could also get Rive to create a spreadsheet, but I think that'd be a lot of
That'll be
fun.
difficult.
It's something that I actually had wanted to do a little bit in Chronicles of Illyria. I asked straight up, "Yo, is there any particular god who actually like cares about or dedicates them to the history of the universe?" And flat answer, no. So it's like, okay, well then, it was this whole kind of like sacred duty sort of guild to be the journalists of the game world and to specifically be a not necessarily, trying to go out and pick fights. In fact, trying to be more diplomatic and sort of stuff to not get beat up as much because you're a historian and, I'm definitely going to write your name in the bad part of history if you come at me. Um, Basically, that if there's no gods that care about the history, then we're the, next most divine beings who are involved in the subject, and so that's our sacred duty sort of thing. And so I wouldn't necessarily try that here. It's a different sort of environment, but Um, I like the idea of like an entire server having a guild that is the kind of the local report for the server, and once a week they kind of write up a brief for what was going on in that region, how well the mayor was doing, public approval, mayoral overrides, this and that sort of thing, how elections have been going, so as to create a, you know, the Varen Times periodical for that server, which they can then copy pasta off of their boards or whatever and distribute to the players, or have in some sort of like public message board sort of way, having an archive that they save on a website and a couple other places, posting it to that server's forums every week. um, that sounds like maybe a bit of work, but a very fun sort of enterprise to have. Mayors bribing the journalists to sway the public. You know, Planendorf, that could be another component of it. You don't know who in that guild is actually being true and honest. Um, that's another part of the fun. If somebody like steps up from the community, is like, hey, this person's not representing the events in an accurate manner, here's the real deal that's going on, then you could try to convince the guild to sign on as like an editor and a fact checker person for that particular individual or that particular node. So, I could definitely see, that is a fun sort of way to try to play the game. It's a very RP focused sort of thing, but it also creates the sort of server history that will bring people to that server and keep it constantly active, because they might be the person that's in the news for, helping fell the dragon that moves the story arc forward or something.
Yeah, it was. I think it was in a joking manner. I think Vertec would agree. But there was a couple of times of who in here is who in here's who's got spies in my guild? Like who's got spies in my guild? Um, and it was a joke, but there's this undercurrent of like which of you am I going to have to now start paying a little bit more attention to? Um, so it's fun. It was a lot of fun. It was funny seeing the definitely the dwarf guild and the orc guild and fighting and not we're all loving killer and they're not. So uh, it was a good time. I do want to talk about. I'm going to probably talk more about this another time, but yeah, already happening to some degree. That is very true, Vertec. A little story for those of you who weren't with us during Chronicles of Illyria. This is probably giving too much away about me, but I'm with Theory Forge, so it's a small guild. Um, who were we with? What was the name of? Do you remember the name of the kingdom? I'm trying to remember who we were aligned with a kingdom and monarchy.
Was Valyria the name of the
No, it was
kingdom?
Ashland. I think it was. Does that sound right?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I see what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Anyways, I had my own. I had I was a count, had land. Um, Also had on the side another account that was a account and had land and was aligned with a completely different other group. And obviously this is years before a game that never came out. So yes, that is 100% happening right now. Because I did it way back then, and it was fun. It was fun keeping that all. I don't know that I even told you all until
What, that you
after.
were going to be the bad mayor?
Yeah, that's a side thing too. Yeah, I actually was going to intentionally be a shitty mayor so that I could sell off land and stuff, make money, and then run. But different story. Well, no, that's tied because I was going to run to the other group. But yeah. So I want to a topic that Diggs. You have something to say? I can't tell if you have a look on your face like you want to talk or not.
Nope.
Um,
I'm watching the avatars at the bottom.
Yeah, I'm Planador says Steven just made AOC to farm as much MMO drama as possible. I swear. Yes, I agree, and I swear to God, somewhere I've looked for this and I can't find it. I'll have to go back and search some more. There is a very, very early stream that they did where he's kind of talking about exactly that, about setting things up to where your guild, fights and you have and just setting things in motion to have drama, which I understand that's what's going to be needed to really drive some of the changes for nodes, because the last thing you want is people just getting really stuck in their ways and then the world doesn't change. But yes, the kingdom of Ashland, that is who we belong to. But I wanted to ask you all about this and chat too. I'm curious your thoughts. We were doing, oh, not we, I was doing Terrace Land with some other folks, streaming a little bit. A lot of mixed opinions. Not really here to talk about Terrace Land itself, more so about how they've done their leveling process. So Terraceland gated everything. Day one, I'm trying to remember what the levels even were. I think you could get to 20, and then 24, and then 30, 34. Really limited that approach. You eventually got to a point where you had done everything you could for the day. You had other quests available, but it was sort of like, why go do them? The experience, I'm locked. Like it's not gonna. Might as well wait till tomorrow. And I think that process is still going on. I don't know if they've reached the max level yet or not, because I kind of fell off at the end of last week. But what do you think about that? What does everybody think about actually time gating very specifically over, 7 days, 14 days, locking levels, locking skills, locking dungeons? We're also locked behind this. Curious your thoughts on that.
I don't like it.
I
Honestly, it seems like a real cheap and clunky thing. If getting 20 levels is something you do in one day, maybe your levels don't mean much and you should have rethought that part.
Yeah, are they done? I don't know why they're locking to 25 levels for one thing, but I don't know. I guess it would depend on what I'm able to do. It's probably a good thing so that you don't have people playing, you know, 10 hours a day. I don't know, maybe it's healthier to only play 4 or 5 hours a day. Um, but I don't know, I'd have to see what exactly is locked since I don't care about dungeons and raids. Um, I'd have to
Yeah,
see what else it would be locked for me.
Yeah, your PvP, you only had so many battlegrounds. They've also done PvP really weird. It's only open specific periods of the day. But
Yeah,
that's
I
weird.
mean, like I say, I don't even know what it was about Terrace Land that I didn't like, but it's well, I know the main thing I did not like was the has the worst character creator I've ever seen in any game I've ever played. Um, but uh, yeah,
so I see two sides.
I didn't like it.
You know, 100% I can see where, um, for especially someone like me, right, that I don't, Monday through Friday, I don't have a ton of time. And then comes the weekend, I have a lot more time. And so sort of capping what you can do every day kind of sucks in in that regard, because it really did get to a point where like I couldn't even go on further. And then I went back. I was actually on vacation, went back to work, and all of a sudden I'm kind of falling behind because I don't have the time. At the same time, it actually kind of almost fostered like a community. Like people were, are you here? Are you doing this? Um, where are you at? Like it actually had some interesting positive notes to it, uh,
Hmm.
which I thought was really interesting. Initially that first day when we started playing, I played with Roar, and it was sort of like, well, this kind of feels bad. Like this is, I hope they don't do this with Ashes, but I don't know. As we started doing more, when we would talk offline, right? Got to get to this level, and this dungeon opens, and there's different challenge modes for the dungeons as well. And like the hardest challenge mode is several levels higher, so you actually got a chance, Wednesday to kind of perfect the dungeon, going into Thursday. Then you could do the chat, like the essentially their equivalent of a mythic dungeon. and so it gives you a chance to kind of learn it before going in. Um, I don't know. I can see both sides. I actually didn't find it to be too terribly bad. It was also nice not having to sort of compete. You run with a small group, and your targets are all going to be the same each day, so you don't have super far to get to, which was also nice as far as playing together. So
Seeing that there's a bit of gating, but the max level is 40. Yeah, it really makes the levels seem almost insignificant. That if that's a few hours of work here and there, and it's easy to keep up on, like how was it every day that the gate was opened up a little bit more,
hmm
or was it every
yep, every day.
so over basically the course of a week or so, it had already gotten up to max level, right?
No, actually, Surgeon General, are you still playing? You say you're playing it right now. Is it? Are we capped? Are you capped at levels yet? I don't think so.
40 is apparently the cap, so I don't
Okay,
know.
well then, yeah, it would be.
Yeah.
Because I think I stopped at 34. Yeah, 40 is the cap right now. So, um,
So,
I'll have to get
and
back in with you, Roar. I'm not too far behind.
that's something I guess I just find a little bit odd. Like, if it's that easy to get to max level, then what is there at max level to do? Is it all loot grind, or are there other, things of interest to do?
I,
Is it stat starvation and build mastery at that point?
Sorry, I think they're saying you've started to get soft again. If I push it up too much higher, I think it's going to make digs too loud. So, anyways,
Hmm.
um,
That's weird. I
but
don't know
yeah,
why it keeps doing that.
but it was, especially when your target level's 40. It's not a terrible way to introduce people. I almost wonder with, yeah, you don't go. Oh wait, I think they're talking about Final Fantasy. I was about to say, yeah, the story in Terrace Land is not what you're playing for either. Um,
Maybe that's why I'm not. Uh, it didn't interest me. Okay.
yeah, no, and honestly, the quests, everything's just really kind of shitty. But you have once you get a certain rep, it also will just walk you to where you're supposed to go. What was fun was the mythic level dungeons and raids, and the PvP. But the PvP also is being done in a really weird way. It's like only open from like 10 a.m. to midnight or something. I don't know. It's strange. And you can only win like two things of rewards, and then you got to wait till the next day unless that's changed. Um, yeah, and it's on mobile, so very much there's a lot of mobile aspects to it. Uh, but anyways, for a game like Ashes, I don't know. I could see where if you have a lot of complexities to a game, it might make sense to just slowly let people in. Um, I don't know. Now I think also, thank you for the follow, uh,
I think
Millie.
it's meant to be more effort gated, that you get what you put into it, and if you play it more and you play it effectively, then you're going to be able to advance in the things
All
you're
right.
trying to advance in more rapidly. And if you're not trying to advance and you're just trying to explore, well, just hit the roads and keep on going and take a lot of screenshots.
I'm going to start pushing this up because they can only hear me apparently at this point. So
Weird.
let me know if it gets too loud for you all with Diggs. Although Diggs
All
is
right.
being suspiciously quiet. So,
If you're talking about Terrace Land, I have nothing to say.
but you talk about World of Warcraft, right? You've still been playing, haven't you?
I've not been playing World of Warcraft. I haven't played that in a year. I'm playing Lego Fortnite, and I have to get back to Nightingale hopefully tomorrow.
All right.
Oh yeah, they've added a lot to that. I saw the grappling hooks and stuff. They've definitely done some good stuff with that I'm kind of looking to check it out. I had almost thought about starting a new character just to see what the experience is like now by comparison. Not that I'm looking to build up a giant fort or anything, but seeing how things have changed and been rebalanced and stuff, and how it feels now. If it feels like it's easier to make better and more informed decisions about the way that I create my gear and all of that sort of stuff.
This is weird. Sorry, I'm trying to figure this out. Strange. I don't know why all of a sudden our audio's never had a problem before.
That definitely does sound weird.
So, all right. Yeah, I saw a comment about Supervive. That game has been a lot of fun. So, I have keys actually. If anybody wants to, yeah, I'm trying to balance it out. I don't understand. I'm looking at the gain from OBS, and I'm trying to push it to where they at least get into the yellow. But
It's just being wacky.
so
I don't know. Maybe if you have a compressor and a limiter, they're not working right now.
So, anyways, I could keep messing with that, but I don't know that I'll get it fixed. And we're starting to get towards the end too.
Yeah.
Yeah. If anyone is interested in, I do have keys. Now there's only 4 days left, so hit me up. So, any final stuff? We have the stream coming up this week. I know you've
What
already
day is it?
the
What day is
3rd, so Wednesday.
Right, because it's okay. That makes sense.
So
Hmm.
here, let me try that. See if y'all can talk a little bit. No, did not. So, all right. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's happening here.
We're almost at the end anyway. It doesn't matter.
So, yeah, but now I'm going to have to really get into Adobe Premiere and fix some stuff, which is going to be a pain in the ass. So,
Yep.
but all right, y'all. Again, thank you for the raid, all of the new follows, everybody that's joining us. We do this every Sunday. I've also started trying to do a little bit more streaming, so a variety of different things. I think the First Ascendant's coming up. I will probably be streaming that.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you're not, I actually might think about streaming it.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff coming out. Once Human also, I think, is either the 7th or the 9th. So 100% will be streaming some of that live. So I'm also going to be redoing our Discord. So hopefully some of you all join us in there as well, and we can start having a little bit more conversations. And I promise I will fix this audio shit. I don't know why it's acting this way. I am using the application beta thing that they have, so it's taking the audio directly from Discord. So I don't know if that's the problem. But anyways, appreciate every single one of you. We hope you have a great week. We will be back here next Sunday. Again, we go live 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. And we are always looking to have conversations, have fun gaming. Yeah, so everyone, we will see you probably at the stream. I know I'll be at least watching from work, and everybody else will be in there as well. And one more time, just because I want to hear it myself.
Fant MX down.
There we go. That will be the end of the night. I don't think there's any. Is there anyone to raid? I don't
Fant
know.
MX down.
Yeah, that's going to start going off in my head,
Fant
isn't it?
MX
Yes, it
down.
is. Yes, you can end with that. Actually, I'm going to look and see if anybody has Ashes of Creation going right now. I don't think anyone does. Yeah, so I'm going to do this. Actually, Lude Lloyd is one of our Ashes creators. He has
Content
been,
creators.
yeah, he has been getting into a lot more Ashes. He's actually on Final Fantasy right now. So for those of you who are not interested, you know, I guess you don't have to follow the raid, but we will send everyone there just to say hello. Yeah, so that is counting down. Everyone have a great week. I think I already said that like multiple times, but I'm having fun. This community is amazing. We appreciate every single one of you. Things are starting to get crazy. So upwards and onwards. We'll see you next week.
Later, everybody.